Crash and burn.
Hey everybody. So today oh Christ, what the hell am I? That's right. I have this, well actually I shouldn't take credit for this. This is my last girlfriend's theory and I just always really agreed with it. So I decided to make a video about it. And the theory is that the movie Cool as Ice, starring Vanilla Ice, is one giant coma dream. Now, when you think about this movie through the lens of it being a coma dream that I can't even remember her name. I've seen this movie like 1,000 times and I can't. Kat. That's her name, Kat. It does make sense if you look at it through the eyes of Kat falling into a coma when jackass Vanilla Ice at the start somehow manages to hop that fence on his bike even though there's absolutely no incline that would allow him to do so. And when he knocks her off the horse, she falls into the coma, and that's when the movie starts. And if you've seen Cool as Ice, and if you actually paid close enough attention to it, you'll notice that not a lot of it makes sense. And that isn't so much from the it's a bad movie standpoint, which this movie definitely is a bad movie. This is one of the best bad movies ever made. But nevertheless, there are things about the town where Vanilla and his crew end up in that Kat lives in that just doesn't make any sense. The mechanic's house where they have to get his buddy Sir D's his bike fixed, that house looks like something out of an old David Lee Roth video from the late 80s. Except the rest of the town looks so strikingly normal, so plain and boring that it's got this kind of Twilight Zone vibe going on. And then all of the trees being cut in that sort of triangular pattern that makes this look more like a Tim Burton movie, like something out of Edward Scissorhands, again, doesn't make sense in such a straight-laced town. Another thing that doesn't make sense about this is that the crazy mechanic's house where Vanilla and his crew stay while the Sidney Lasik, one of the mechanics, and his wife are fixing his buddy's bike. The house is insane. It's got massive text all over the walls. There's these oversized salt and pepper shakers. And there's just a real sort of a fever dream vibe to this entire movie. And maybe that's because this whole time Kat was thrown into a coma when Vanilla knocks her off the horse at the start. I mean, everything about this movie is weird. When you get introduced to her family, it's like they're all on meth, and it's this incredibly sped up scene where they're all shooting around and everything's really frenetic and crazy and hyper energized. And that just doesn't make sense at all unless she's dreaming it all in a coma. And then again, if you think about it through those eyes, or using that approach, it makes perfect sense. Nothing would make sense in a dream because nothing should make sense in a dream. If I'm not mistaken, dreams are a way for your brain to let off stress, sort of let off steam. So of course nothing would make sense, and of course this town would be as messy as it is, and of course Kat would be dating this out-of-touch jackass, and then Vanilla would come in and he'd be like the knight in shining armor who cools everything up. See, I use the word cool because it's cool as it doesn't matter. And so he comes in and him and his crew are hip and everybody in the town isn't, and her boyfriend's this douchebag, and of course Vanilla Ice knows how to fight. And I don't know, there's so many things about this movie that just don't make sense. Like when him and Kat take off for the day to that subdivision of houses that they're building, but it's not really a subdivision of houses, it's more just one house that's in the middle of some flatland somewhere that again makes pretty much no sense. So yeah, does Cool as Ice happen inside a Kat's head during some sort of coma dream that she has because Vanilla Ice knocks her off the horse at the start of the movie? Or is this just sort of a really bad movie where nobody cared and everybody just figured let's throw everything at this movie and just see what happens? Personally, I'm siding with what my ex said. I think it's a coma dream. What do you think? I guess it doesn't really matter because no one cares about this movie. I love this movie. God, this movie's bad. But I'm getting out of here, so thank you so much for hanging out with me for just about 4.5 minutes while I discussed whether or not Vanilla Ice's absolutely epic masterpiece of a film, Cool as Ice, took place in reality, or whether or not it was the result of Kat being knocked into a coma at the start of the movie. I'm getting out of here. Have a good day or night or whatever. Yeah.